Hello everyone, welcome back to another Roblox Rise of Nations video. It's FrancoBritish here. In this video, I will go over which formables are the most fun to form in my opinion. These formables aren't particularly easy to form. I would argue that their difficulty are between medium and hard. However, most of these formables won't require you to send troops overseas just for them to be sunk by submarines or suffer attrition through desert. So if you are bored of playing the game, try to form the formables on this list in public servers. If you want more top 10 lists for Rise of Nations, like the video. If you have your own lists, feel free to post them in the comment section down below. For number 10, we have the Mughal Empire. This formable requires you to start as Afghanistan or Pakistan and conquer India and Bangladesh. The Mughal Empire was historically formed by Babur when he conquered Delhi. Nowadays, India is usually controlled by the AI and public servers. I've seen more Austrian or Turkish players than Indian players. So the challenge for Pakistan or Afghanistan is that the player has to min-max their limited treasury and manpower. Some Indian cities are also heavily populated, and they will require hundreds of thousands of troops to occupy. Moreover, China may have desires to conquer India as well, so the player may face fierce competition from China for territory. As a result, we have the Mughal Empire for number 10. For number 9, we have the Franco-British Union. This formable requires you to start as the United Kingdom of France and conquer the other country. The Franco-British Union was a proposed union between the two countries after France fell to the Germans during World War II. France and United Kingdom are usually players in public servers. As such, this formable would require early game player war. I love player wars, so I enjoyed forming the Franco-British Union. If the player started as the UK, they have to be aware of Germany or Spain stealing parts of France during a war. Thus, we have the Franco-British Union for number 9. For number 8, we have the Roman Empire. This formable requires you to start as Italy and conquer the entire Mediterranean. Well, I suppose everyone knows what the Roman Empire was. Italy is located in the middle of the Mediterranean, which makes expansion in all directions possible. The player can attack North Africa and the Balkans at the same time, maybe even outgrowing Germany or Turkey in a few years. Italy can also obtain tons of resources from North Africa, including the precious titanium. As a result, we have the Roman Empire for number 8. For number 7, we have Carthage. It requires the player to start as Tunisia and conquer Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Gibraltar, Malta, Spain, and Italy. Carthage was the dominant power in the Western Mediterranean until the Romans conquered it after the Punic Wars. Tunisia and its neighbor Algeria are rich in resources, allowing you to spam out factories early game without having to import them. Moreover, Italian and Spanish players are usually inexperienced in the game. You may try to surprise invade Europe immediately after conquering North Africa. You can start allied to Spain and Italy and backstab them later by declaring on one of their allies. As a result, Carthage is 7th on this list. For number 6, we have the Russian Empire / the Soviet Union. Both are similar formables for Russia and requires conquering much of Eastern Europe, the Caucasus, and Central Asia. It is up to the player's preference whether they prefer the Russian Empire flag and the Tsar title, or the Soviet Union flag with the Comrade title. What's unique about Russia is that it's one of the few countries starting on limited conscription instead of volunteer conscription. Coupled with its large resource pool for factories, it allows the player to build a strong economy and spam troops to steamroll across other countries. As a result, the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union are 6th on this list. For number 5, we have Assyria. It requires you to start out as Iraq and conquer Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Israel, Kuwait, and Egypt. It was one of the strongest countries in the Middle East back in antiquity. Turkish and Egyptian players are more common than ever in public servers. As such, it is a race against time for Iraq to conquer Syria before Turkey, and to conquer Israel before Egypt. As a stepping stone before fighting Egypt, the player can form the Babylonian Empire and get cores on all the new territory. That puts Iraq's core population above Egypt and Iran and close to Turkey. For further expansion, the player can also try fighting the Turkish player, which is somewhat difficult if the enemy player is decent in the game. As a result, Assyria is 5th on this list. For number 4, we have the Byzantine Empire. It requires you to start as Greece and conquer Turkey, Albania, Macedonia, Bulgaria, Montenegro, Serbia, and Cyprus. It's funny how I had both the Roman Empire and Byzantine Empire on the same list, which are technically the same country. I've already said repeatedly that Turkey is usually a player in public servers. A war between Greece and Turkey is inevitable as both players usually expand in the same direction. Fighting Turkey as Greece is a tough yet fun challenge. Turkey starts with a way larger population, 37 million to 6 million, but Greece can use the Aegean Sea and Thracian mountains to its advantage for defense. All in all, Greece has a decent chance in winning the conflict. So here are our honorable mentions before I disclose my top 3 favorite formables. The Republic of China is fairly pleasing to form. You start out as Taiwan and conquer China. I decided to leave this one out as it's too difficult to be fun for most other players. Anyways, for third place we have the Golden Circle. You have to start out as the United States, wait 10 minutes to release yourself as the Confederate States, and conquer Central America. The Golden Circle was proposed by the Confederate States as an expanded state to deter Northerners' aggression. The game will start out uneventful as you develop the South until you are allowed to release the CSA. In my own CSA game, I acted friendly to Mexico before I released myself, and I immediately attacked them once I became the CSA. Needless to say, they were caught off guard and their entire army was down in Central America. I really love exploiting the surprise factor in Rise of Nations. As such, I decided to have the Golden Circle for third place. For second place, we have the Intermerium. It requires you to start out as Poland, Belarus or Ukraine and conquer much of Eastern Europe. Intermerium, Latin for Between Seas, was a proposed Central and Eastern European alliance in the interwar period to deter German and Russian aggression. It stretches from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. Poland is one of my favorite nations to play in Rise of Nations. Poland stands between Germany and Russia, which are usually players and start way stronger. There is also a decent chance Germany will attack you immediately. However, you can easily steamroll Czechia, Belarus and Ukraine since they are mostly flatland. Once you form the Intermerium, you can easily kill Russia as well. As a result, we have the Intermerium for second place. For first place, we have the Holy Roman Empire. This formable requires you to start out as Austria or Liechtenstein and conquer Central Europe, including Germany. The Holy Roman Empire was a multi-ethnic complex of territories in Western and Central Europe that developed during the early Middle Ages. Austria is also one of my favorite nations to play in the game. Using a weak Austria to defeat a strong Germany is incredibly fun and rewarding. You can learn to break the game by entrenching your infantry in mountains, which provides around ×3 combat bonus. This formable is also way harder than Austria-Hungary or the Austrian Empire, as it forces you to fight Germany directly. As a result, we have the Holy Roman Empire for the first place. That is the end of the video. Do you agree with this list? Like, subscribe, comment. You can check out my top 10 weirdest formables list on the left and my most recent video on the right.